Very good morning students, welcome back first year physics. In this first year physics, actually we are discussing about the chapter is system of particles and rotational motion. Of course system of particles are finished, that is about a center of mass. See, from that center of mass, see we have a very important, that is about a related to the center of mass and their applications, some related also we finished. And in that center of mass another one also is there, that is about a center of gravity. I will tell you about a center of gravity. Center of gravity is nothing but a, because there will be a one question is there related to the center of mass and center of gravity, comparison is there. Center of mass is nothing but a, once again I will tell you, it is a point where the entire mass of the system supposed to be concentrated. Total mass of the system is to be concentrated. At that point mass may or may not be exist, but the point should be within the boundary of the system. Clear? At the point should be within the boundary of the system. And you remember, for a small bodies, center of mass is at center only. At that point mass is exist. And here center of mass is independent on acceleration due to gravity, because it is not depends. Sir, what about center of gravity? Gravity in the sense is G. Here center of gravity is nothing but it is a point where entire weight of the body is supposed to concentrated. Weight should be concentrated. Weight in the sense is what happens? That is, we can say mg. Suppose you take a one body. So this is the body. Therefore, the point should be within the body, not within the boundaries. Within the body. Suppose you take a solid sphere. Yes. See, for the solid sphere, the center of gravity should be at a center. At this point what happens? Weight of the body, it is act downward and G is there. That's what center of gravity in the senses. Center of gravity in the senses, there it is to be. It is depend on acceleration due to gravity. In case gravity, center of gravity it is. Center of gravity you say, right? It is depend on gravity and point should be within the body. Within the body, not within the boundary. Within the body it is. That means at an empty place the gravity does not exist. Empties. That's what. In case of a center of mass, see the point exists in the empty place also. Empty in the sense there no mass exists. But in case of a gravity, there must be a mass is exist. The point should be within the body. Suppose you want to say about a ring. Simple example, it is a ring. See, center of mass will be at a center. This is the center of mass. Sir, where will be the center of gravity? Of course, the gravity exists on the rim, like on the mass. So, it may be exist anywhere like this. Not within the boundary, within the body, what I mean here. And you remember, center of gravity and center of mass. There is a small comparison is there. For a small bodies, you take a for small bodies. So, the point is center of mass and center of gravity, they are coincides at a one point. They coincides. Suppose you take a huge bodies, like you take a hill, like this hill is there. Center of mass and the center of gravity does not coincides. Very simple. Gravity and mass, they do not coincide, because center of gravity for a huge bodies and the center of massity for a huge bodies, they do not coincide each other. This is for 4 marks in our material given, which is very important for IPE. There is a comparison between center of mass and center of gravity. That's what. You write this all 4 or 5 points related to the center of mass and related to the center of gravity like this. So, this is the chapter related to the center of mass or system of particles. So, next in this system of particle or a rotational motion, chapter name is system of particle and rotational motion. Let us, system of particle is over. Let us, I would like to tell you about a rotational motion. Sir, what is rotational motion? Of course, already we started about a rotational motion in the previous only. That is about a angular velocity, angular acceleration and the relation between V and R. Like we finished about the chapters related, in this case already we started. So, on the basis of that, let us we have some problems on the basis of a angular velocity, on the basis of a angular acceleration, on the basis of a angular displacement, like that we have some problems. So, that I will tell you the problems and then after we will see the remaining rotational motion, right. Yeah, there is a one problem is there on the basis of this rotational motion. See, the question will be given as page number 154, problems. See page number 157, and the question number will be 7 it is. Look at, I'll read the question, what is asking. So the thing is, the angular speed of a motor wheel increased from, angular speed of a motor wheel is increased from 1200 rpm to 3120 rpm. 3120 rpm. Sir, what is rpm? Rotations per minute or revolution per minute. That's what you say N1, this you say N2, because N is nothing but a number of rotations per minute. Number of rotations, how many rotations are given here? N1 is equal to 1200 rotations per minute, not angular velocities. Everyone remember, these are given as the rotations per minute. Angular velocity must be in radians per second, but it is given as a rotation per minute. It is radians per second for the angular velocity. If in the question, if is given a angular velocity, therefore they will mention a radians per second. But in this question given as rotations per minute is like this, for a time of 16 seconds is given, right? And is asking what is the angular acceleration, assuming the acceleration to be uniform. So is asking first one, angular acceleration is one, first question, and as well as is also asking how many revolutions does the engine makes during this time, how many revolutions. Theta also asking how many rotations. So here first of all we should get an alpha, then after we will see remain. So before that there is a formula, omega 2 is equal to omega 1 plus alpha t. For first alpha we are finding, alpha t is equal to omega 2 minus omega 1 by t. Of course time is given 16 seconds, but omega 1 and omega t is not given, right? Omega 1 and omega 2 are not given, but using this n1 and n2 we can. So omega 1 is equal to 2 pi n1. Of course omega 1 is equal to 2 pi into n1 will be 1200 rotations per minute. No, you take as 60. So approximately we may get after cancellation, so that it is you say 20. So omega 1 will be 40 pi. Now radians per second, small comparison, and you observe everyone. If omega in the question is given, suppose is given in omega, then there will be a units will be radians per second. If rotations is given, you say like this. This is the small comparison between the both, right? And get also omega 2. So omega 2 is equal to 2 pi n2. So that here omega 2 is equal to 2 pi. What is n2 given? 3120 divided by 60. Suppose if you simplify this, see approximately we may get the 104 pi radians per second. So this is the omega 1 and omega 2 is there. So now is what is asking? Is asking angular acceleration. No? So that you take like this, alpha is equal to, what is omega 2? 104 pi minus 40 pi by it is 16. So alpha is equal to 104 minus 40. See actually 100 minus 40 is nothing but a 60, but here 64 pi by 16 ones, right? It is 16 fours. So alpha is equal to 4 pi radians per second square it is, because acceleration, no? Angular acceleration it is. So now we know alpha, omega 1, omega 2. This is over. Now is also asking what? Find the angular displacement of the given rotor or motor. So you go for the second point, is asking theta. Of course there will be a formula will be theta is equal to omega 1 t plus 1 by 2 alpha t square. So that you write here whatever we know the values, substitute and get the first theta, then after that number of revolutions. Revolutions is asking number of revolutions. So that here you take a theta is equal to omega 1. We know omega 1 is, it is 40 pi into time is 16 plus 1 by 2 alpha will be 4 pi and t is 16 square. 2 ones 2 2's it is cancelled. So theta will be 16 into 4. 16 into 4 is 64. So that 640 pi, and here also 2 pi 16 square it is. So that it is maybe approximately completely 512 pi. So it is theta is equal to what happens? You take a 1 after simplification 5 2. It is radians. It is only angular displacement is over, but is asking number of rotations. No? So for that number of rotations is nothing but n is asking. So that number of revolutions. See you write here number of that you say revolutions. That is nothing but a theta by 2 pi. Sir, what is theta? Yes, of course we have theta. Here you write a pi also, right? 115 pi by you say 2 pi. So cancel it is say approximately after simplification 576 number of revolutions. Like this we can take. This is related to what? See how to do the omega, how to find the omega. Yes. This is the way of find omega like this. So this is the one problem which is related to given as on the basis of rotational motion, and as well as other also given. Once I will tell you that problems also, then after we will move into the next topics. Yeah, on the basis of one friction problem also given, because we know the friction already we finished in the previous chapter about a friction. In this there is a one friction problem also given, so that I will tell you that friction related problem. Okay. Now look at here, the one friction related problem is given, page number 163, question number 3. Page number 163, question number 3. Everyone read the question and you write what is given data, everyone note down. Then after we'll see the formula and how to do the question. Right. So the question is, a coin is kept at a distance of 10 centimeter from center of a circular turntable. If the coefficient of static friction between the table and the coin is, of course, there is a one turntable is there. You draw a one turntable, the table is rotating, and above the turntable there will be a one coin is placed. Coin is placed at a distance of 10 centimeter from the center of the circular turntable. Yes, the distance is given as r is equal to 10 centimeter given. Here it is given in 10 centimeter, no, then you convert into meters. Now the table is turning, rotating. There will be a coefficient of friction mu is equal to given as 0.8 it is. Find the frequency of rotation of the disc at which the coin will just begin to slip. That means frequency is asking, n is asking when the coin just slips because of rotation, angular velocity. Of course, he is asking angular velocity which the coin is just leave the turntable. So there will be a centripetal force and centripetal and centrifugal forces. Of course, you say there will be a centrifugal forces F. G is equal to, we can take mr omega square because it is rotation, and there will be a frictional forces, it is a mu into mg. So of course, centripetal and centrifugal forces are balances. So that we will get the first of all about a omega. Therefore, mr omega square is equal to mu into mg. So you simply cancel. Therefore, omega square is equal to mu g by r. So omega is equal to root over mu g by r is the angular velocity when the coin is placed on the turntable. Therefore, the coin is moving with the angular velocity is root over mu g by r. So there will be a mu is we know, and radius also we know, g also we know. So that you substitute these all values and get first frequency of rotation, so that you get a first angular velocity by using this information. That is mu is 0.8, g is you said 10 or 9.8 your wish, it is based on the problem you take. Therefore, radius will be 0.1. So here it is cancelled, root over 8 into 9.8. Omega will be approximately, we can say like this, root 8 into root 9.8. So it may be 2 root, otherwise you write like this 4 into 2 into 9.8 of course. So maybe it is 2 into 19.6. This is will be omega, and this omega represented as radians per second. So omega is over, but is asking what? Find the rotations of the disk. Again you take a 2 pi n by 60, that is omega will be 2 pi n by 60, because rotations per minute is asking 2 into 19.6. So 2 cancel. N is asking, actually in this case is asking n, so that you find a capital N here, right? 60 into root 19.6 by pi. So this is the rotations per second. Rotations per minute you want to say, then it is rotations per minute will be approximately 19.6. You find in root 19.6, then we'll get the final value will be 84.55 rpm, rotations per minute, like this. So this is the one question on the basis of friction and angular velocity and angular rotations. Rotations are related, one question is given like this. So these are the two questions which is given in our material like this. Suppose you refer this, right? Clear? And here. So about a rotational motion, now we know angular velocity as well as angular frequency also we know. Now let us, I would like to tell you another concept is there, that is about in a work power energy we discussed, we completed about one product of vector. That one product of vector is about a dot product is finished. Dot product of any two vector is a scalar. That is over. In the previous chapter only we finished about a dot product, because there are two products, one we can say dot, one more we can say cross. Then you go for the next product, cross product, or which we can also say vector product. Right, there will be two products. One is dot, it is already in the previous chapter is over. Now let us will move to the cross product or vector product. Of course it is also one type of multiplication. Here in this multiplication again we have to say about related to the multiplication properties. Dot related properties also we finished. Let us, in case of a cross product, let you take a P and Q are the two vectors. The cross product of any two vectors, very simple. The cross product of any two vectors is a vector here. But in case of a dot, the cross dot product of any two vector is a scalar. But in this case what happens? The dot product of any two vector is a vector. So that represented as a vector only. A multiplication property, cross multiplication property, suppose I would like to tell you P cross Q, which is equal to a vector. Yes, if you multiply like this, then we will get a vector only. Suppose P and Q is the two vectors, you take a P and Q is the two vectors, which are at an angle of theta. Therefore, the product of these two vectors is represented as the another vector is R. So that R is represented as the P cross Q. That we can say it is at a angle of theta, no? Therefore, P cross Q, which is equal to capital R. Of course, capital R also vector. It is a unit vector or you say vector. Suppose you want to take in terms of unit vector. So that defined as the cross product of any two vector is defined as, see, cross product of any two vector is defined as the product of magnitude of the two vectors, and angle between the two vector is sine of the angle. In case of a dot, the angle between the two vector is cos of the angle, and it is, we can also take as a unit vector, and it is equal to R. So that's what here cross product of any two vector is a vector. Suppose I will tell you, suppose if two vectors are at an angle like this, you say P and Q. Therefore, for these two vectors the resultant will be represented as like this. Clear? Resultant will be represented as like this. So the resultant direction, we can say this resultant direction is represented as the direction of P cross Q. Yes, of course. That we can say by using a right hand thumb rule. That's what we can say, right hand thumb rule. We can find get the direction of P cross Q. That's what you say. Here it is, you take a like this P vector, and q vector, right? There will be an angle, and here it is represented as a right hand thumb rule like this. You fold like this, the fingers are folded like this, there will be direction is represented as p cross q like this, that is r we can say. So this is gives the direction. Not only this, we can also take by using a right hand screw rule also, that gives a right hand screw rule. Of course, you take a right hand screw rule also same way, p cross q. See, there will be a screw you put like this. Yes, of course, a screw represented direction head is gives, it is p cross q. So we can also take like this by using a cross product. So the cross product direction we can obtain by using a right hand thumb rule or right hand screw rule. Right hand thumb rule it is, and it is a right hand screw rule it is. By using these two rules, we can get a direction of p cross q. So that the cross product of any two vector is equal to the product of magnitude of the two vectors, and angle between the two vector is sine of the angle, and cross product of any two vector is nothing but a vector always. Vector always. So suppose sometimes he may ask you angle, then you take a p cross q is equal to pq sin theta. Therefore sin theta is equal to p cross q by p into q. That is, if angle between p cross q, suppose he is asking, so then you say p cross q is equal to magnitude p, magnitude q is equal to sin theta. Yes, of course, like this we can take. So this is about a simple way that we can say cross product of any two vector, and here it is actually for IPE pattern 4 marks, very very important properties. So we should write a properties of a cross product. Of course, I will tell you both comparisons for a which one. I like to tell you dot product also, because cross product is nothing but a what? See, it does not obeys the commutative law. Cross product is does not obey the commutative law, whereas dot product is obeys the commutative law, and that also obeys the associative law. Which one? Dot product is obeys the associative law, and it is also obeys the distributive law. Which one? Dot product is obeys the commutative law, associative law, distributive law. Whereas in case of a cross product, it does not obey the commutative law. That means here p cross q is not equal to q cross p. Suppose if you multiply, in case of a cross, if you multiply both p and q, will get a one answer, no? Then after you take a opposite, will not get the same answer. P and q are the two vectors. You take a p cross q is not equal to q cross p. It does not obeys, right? But whereas the dot product is obeys the commutative law. And coming to the second point, of course, it is obeys the distributive law. You say, like in case of a distributive law, it is obeys. See, in case of a both p cross r, dot and cross product obey the distributive law. Both the dot product obeys as well as the cross product also obeys the distributive law. So that here it is a p cross q within the bracket q plus r, and it is equal to p cross q. You keep in the within the bracket, and after that also you keep in the within the bracket, so that it is obeys the distributive law. Like that, it is another property is there, that you say if two vectors are parallel, theta is 0, that is p vector and q vector. If two are parallel, therefore p cross q is equal to, we can say pq sin 0. Sin 0 will be 0, that we can say null vector. If two vectors are parallel, cross product will get the 0. 0 in the sense is null. Not only that, you take a theta is equal to 180 also 0, because sin 180 also 0. Parallel or anti-parallel, the cross product will be 0. And coming to the next point, you take a, if two vectors are perpendicular, like you take a p cross q. So theta will be 90. So p cross q, which is equal to pq sin 90, perpendicular, no? Therefore it will be maximum. We say pq is maximum, unit vector you want to say, or else also no problem. So if two vectors are parallel or anti-parallel, this will be 0, and if perpendicular, it is will be maximum. Perpendicular will be maximum. So these are the properties. Like first property does not obey the commutative law, it obeys the distributive law. Third one, if two vectors are parallel or anti-parallel, then we'll get the p cross q is equal to 0. And if two vectors are perpendicular, therefore p cross q is equal to, it is pq. So like this we have the properties, and I'll tell you another property also. Suppose there is a, you take a unit vectors I, j, k. Suppose I like to tell you I, j, k you take. See, I is represented along x axis, j is represented along a y axis, k is represented along a z axis. Suppose you take a I, j, k, because if you multiply I, j, then it is gives the k, and j, k multiply, then it is gives a I, and k, I multiply, it gives a j. That's what I cross j is equal to k, j cross k is equal to I, and k cross I, it gives a j. These are the very, very important. But in case of a dot product, that gives a opposite nature is gives a 0. But here opposite nature gives a other unit vector, because I, j, k are the mutually perpendicular unit vectors. You multiply any two, that gives a other. Suppose if you go with the same, yes, of course, I cross I is equal to 0, j cross j is equal to 0, k cross k, of course, it is equal to 0. Same nature you multiply, then will get the 0. But opposite nature you multiply, will get the other unit vector, because cross product of any two vector is the another vector. Suppose if you multiply reverse, j cross I you take, yes, minus will get, and k cross I, j you take, again minus I, and I cross k you take, again it is gives a minus j cap. So like this is the method of ijk multiplication. Same vector, same unit vector you take, then will get the 0. Same unit vector multiplication in case of a cross will get the 0. Whereas the dot product you take will get the 1. So this is the simple difference. Cross and dot product. Dot, same multiplication will get the 1. In cross, same multiplication will get the 0. So like this we have the properties related to the cross product, or we can say dot product properties also. This is the actually today's class, and we will see in the next class. Again we have another one property and one problems also is there, so that I will finish it in the next class. Thank you very much. We will see in the next class.